You talked a little bit about that change starts with the CEO, and you gave some examples of things that they should be doing to help when these things happen or when they find themselves in the chasm. Do you have any thoughts in terms of practical advice for a CRO or even a CTO or CPO who may find themselves in this situation?
So I think there's two tendencies. There's one to stop the bleeding and then get to the root cause. And I think most people stop the bleeding, and they
Yeah.
say, okay, we've stopped the bleeding. I'm gonna kind of continue forth. I think stopping the bleeding and then getting to the root cause. I think looking at your people, like a lot of the times the people that got you into a situation aren't the people that will get you out of it. Like it's a
Hmm.
sad truth. There are some people that are really good at startups, and I would say myself included. Like I'm not a $2 billion salesperson. Like that, that is not my wheelhouse. And there are people that are really good at getting you to $100 million or $50 million that are not going to be able to get you where you need to go next. So I think that is hard. It doesn't mean that they are to be redundant, like to be taken out, but how do you bolster them with people that have been on this path forward? So I think it's adding executives, adding advisors of people that have done this portion of the journey that you're about to do next, and also looking at vendors that have done this portion of the journey that you're doing next, because again, you don't want to be at 50 million and look to a $1 billion CEO and say, okay, you're going to be my mentor, how do I get to a billion? It's finding the right people that have done that 50 to $250 million journey, because that's the journey you're on. Who can help with that, whether it's adding to your executive team, adding to your board, adding to your advisors, working with vendors that have done that portion of the journey. I think that's often overlooked, because if everyone around you has only ever gotten to 50 million,
Yeah.
the chances that you're going to, like, who can help, who can you learn from? Of course, adding your own flavor, adding your own spin. You're not looking for a playbook per se, but a guide or people that can help you avoid some of the common pitfalls. Yes. And then the other piece is like, how is the executive team engaging with customers? Because that goes a long way. And when you're going to be pissing off a customer, like I'm thinking, let's say you're doing a M&A, you're acquiring another key product in the space, and you're going to integrate that product into your product. But it means it's going to be clunky for a little bit, and they're going to be upset. Well, a call from your CEO or a call from someone explaining the vision, explaining the value, and explaining what they're going to get out of it at the end goes a really long way.
So that's an important piece because it's a question for me actually. So I'll ask you: I've seen this happen, which is the company is in the midst of, they know what they've been doing isn't working all of a sudden, and so a reaction to that is what, I guess you could call like visionary syndrome. Somebody sits down and comes up with this brand new concept of how everything is going to be different and looks completely different. They might even invest in somebody to come in and draw up what this whole new vision of is going to look like. And most of the time, I mean, it's great. It's an amazing idea, and maybe and in many ways, it may address the business and market issues, although it certainly wouldn't immediately address the technical issues that have led them there. But it is also somewhat divorced from the reality of their current scenario, and it's like, well, you're trading the hardships of your existing reality with the hardships of a reality that doesn't even exist yet. And then they go out and start trying to sell that, which from a startup perspective is like, well, that makes sense. You're selling something before you build it so that you can get paid to build it. From an enterprise perspective, I don't know if you're it feels very risky, but maybe that, I don't know. I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, risky is a really, really good term to use. I think there's a balance. There is getting a little ahead of your skis, selling something that's coming. But the enterprise needs to be excited about what they have today. So it will not exempt you from users reporting bugs on your platform. That doesn't help necessarily. It can buy you more credibility and more time. But it is absolutely a balance. And I think too often people unveil this entire new version of their product
Yeah.
all at once. And I for the enterprise specifically, like I was speaking with a customer the other day, and they have a SaaS tool, and they changed the color of something, and someone complained. They changed the color from blue to white, and someone complained because they were used to it being blue and it is now white. It is still incredibly legible. It was like a decoration. It was not actually a key piece of the UI. So I think these visionary moments, people think, oh, I'm going to unveil this entirely new thing. And, we can think of some SaaS tools that the three of us use where they unveil the new menu and all at once. And while it's maybe better for us in the long term, like that was a hard adjustment to make. So, of course, there'll be some things that you need to do all at once, but I would say too often it's like, oh, 3.0, we're going to take everything and blow it up and make it different and better, is often not the solution. And the solution is more iterative.
The delta between what is now and all the muscle memory that people have to know what is now, all the comfort they have, even if it's terrible, they've gotten it to work. They figured it out. And the delta between that and the new thing, that's change that needs to be designed. And it's often not designed.
Yes.
The new thing's designed, but the path and the journey to handhold someone to the new thing, that's often missed.
Yeah. And it's the same with entering a new market. Like we're going to go up market. We're going to go down market. Okay, great. And you have a sales team that is an expert in one market. And now you think you're going to apply it to a new market. Or we're going to integrate, we're a SaaS tool that is $150,000 a year. We're bought a competitor that's $5,000 a year. And now we're going to try and integrate it all together. I think the vision is important and the vision is there, but the connection, like strategy in action, I think is the critical piece that often gets missed. And then you end up with a bungled, half-baked, not on time, frustrated situation. And that's where you get these customers that are sitting on legacy tech for years and years and years because they won't move to the latest version because it doesn't meet their needs.
It's another version of the build it and they will come fallacy you were talking about. It's just a much more expensive version.
Absolutely.
I think we covered a ton of ground. This was really cool. Jenna, thank you so much for making this time. Want to open up the mic to you here. Spotlight is on you. Anything you want to plug or talk about, go ahead. Let everybody know.
I would say feel free to reach out if anyone listening to this wants to talk more about startup sales. But if I could put it on a billboard, and I'm going to put it on this billboard now, please don't hire sales too early. You need to be able to repeatably sell yourself as a founder. If you cannot repeatably sell yourself, you will never have luck with a salesperson. You need to learn to get good at sales. So I think for founders, that's what I'm going to leave you with. And then for any execs that are listening to this that are focused on kind of that 50 to 250 million, I'm in this stuck, like find people like Bo, like Josh, find people that have done this part of the journey before, because you will be far better off. And I think thinking what got you here will get you out of it is a hard path.
You've been listening to The Hidden Chasm, brought to you by UnitedFX. If anything in our conversation resonated with you today, please reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Email us at podcast@unitedfx.com or simply visit us at unitedfx.com or thehiddenchasm.com. Thanks for listening.